All right, guys. Today we're here with T.M.T. Terrence,
Myles,
and Tim.
Today we're going to be talking about on our first episode, which is titled "Pride in Parents." So the first question I'm gonna let Myles open up about.
Oh, I was like, are you good? Okay, not my fault. All right, but anyway, yeah, so pride in parents, like you were talking about. The main question we want to ask that we're going to discuss today is, does pride and independence in our generation, we're all 22, 23, the younger generation, right? Does the pride and independence that we all have stem from parental issues? And why do you guys think it's yes or no?
Tim, you want to go first, or you want to?
It doesn't matter. I do believe it does, just because of some personal experiences.
Would you like to share those personal experiences?
Yes, I would like to share.
All right, go ahead and share these personal experiences.
So, growing up, being a basketball player, living with a single parent household, my mom always pushed me to become an NBA player. That was a lot of stress on me. 10, 11 years old. How are you going to pressure your son to be in the NBA at 10 and 11 years old?
Yeah.
Just because you want your life to be better and not making a change for yourself.
Right.
It just doesn't really make a lot of sense to me in that aspect, because yes, you're doing your best at the moment with 3 kids, but strive for more.
Right.
Don't put everything on your children, even though you want them to be better than what you are in your current situation.
Yeah. So I would ask, like a follow-up to that, would you say that, I don't want to say like pushed you away from her, but in that regard, did that make you more like independent from her because she kind of like used you as a crutch for a long time? And I know you stopped playing, what was it, like after senior year, like you didn't want to pursue college, but would you say like that experience that she pushed you at such a young age, like kind of strove you away to like kind of be more independent, like we don't really need her in a sense, where it's like you don't want her to like rely on you as a crutch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say that, yeah. Which, I mean, no offense to my family out there listening, but I believe I'm used as a crutch in a lot of situations that I feel like I shouldn't have to be.
That's fair. What do you think?
I would say yeah. I mean, in my own experiences, and I feel like that happens a lot to other people as well. And bounce off of what Tim said, I mean, people, they use that in sports a lot, all the time. Saying outside of myself, like, I know you see NBA players or NFL players, when they make it to the league, the family think, oh, we made it, you know what I'm saying? And it's a way for everybody to come up. I'm not saying you can't help people or, share the wealth or anything like that, but you got a life too, you know what I'm saying? You got other people, and when you have your own family, that's going to depend on you outside of siblings, mother and father, friends, things like that. But to open up the floor a little bit more, I would say there's a lot to talk about when it comes to this topic. Mm-hmm. I think the whole thing with the pride stemming from the parents, I think is how we treat children in reference as far as like what we do for them. And it makes them, I'll say at least in the Black community, to the point where we want to develop the mentality of like, I'm going to get it out the mud, I can do everything for myself, and that comes, that leads people to want to move out earlier at a younger age, like 18, 17, pretty much just before they're ready for what life really is, you know what I'm saying? They don't really know, but they think they do because you were termed as an adult once you hit 18 years old. For sure. But you really don't know anything, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of times in the Black community especially, there's a certain level of respect for people that do get out the mud. Like, they might not have they might not have any other options, so it's a lot more genuine and like, okay, it's more of an accomplishment when they actually find a way to be successful, getting it through the mud. And I feel like there's a certain level of respect that people in the Black community, and just people in general, have for those kinds of people. Mm-hmm. And I feel like a lot of times when you do have certain blessings and you are financially stable in your family, like when you communicate with people that didn't necessarily have those opportunities and things of that nature, then people start to look at you kind of like, oh, he's spoon fed, oh, he's spoiled, oh, he's like, he's this, he's that. And there's a certain level of like a disconnect because you weren't necessarily in that situation that they were in, but like they see you as like not as worthy sometimes. And I feel like with black people, like we thrive on struggle a lot of times, like because like, you know, we're a resilient people, we always have been. But like at the same time, it's okay if you didn't come from an environment where you had to. And I feel like a lot of times parents try and make it seem like you're not as, not even parents, but you know, sometimes like even your black colleagues and stuff, like they try and make it seem like you're not as black if you haven't suffered. Does that make sense? Because I feel like a lot of instances people do try and label blackness based off of how much you've had to struggle in certain aspects.
Poverty.
Yeah, like poverty stricken. Like it's not everybody, but that doesn't make anyone less black or their experiences not as valid because, you know, you haven't gone through it. And I know a lot of people like the trauma compare. You know, like, oh man, you didn't eat, bro. Bro, I ain't drink, I ain't eat, I ain't like it's all these different things. Like, why are you guys comparing trauma and try and make it seem who got it out harder?
They be ready.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's ready. It does get to that point. Like, man, you said you had it hard. My dad wasn't. And like, yeah, those are unfortunate situations. But at the same time, it's not. It's okay to not, you know, be in a position where you had to struggle all the time.
It becomes a pride and ego thing,
Right?
And it's almost like, okay, you hear our parents say all the time, like, "Oh, I want better for my children," and even people like us, we would say that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I want better for my children than what I had. Well, if you want better for your children, stop creating and feeding the mentality of it's okay to be poverty stricken, it's okay to struggle, and being proud of it. No, well, I went through this, I went through that. But you shouldn't want your kid to have to go through that, like you say. So when you do better for them, don't
Dangle it in their face.
Yeah, don't dangle it in their face and don't throw it up and don't be condescending and like, see, I ain't had that when I was growing up, so y'all spoiled. You just because you have something that you provided for your children that you didn't have, does not mean they're not spoiled. Every generation should get better. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like that's not something we should take away from them. And that's like we said, that's feeding that mentality of like, oh, I got it out the mud, I'll get it out the mud. I did this all along. Because that's children can become resentful towards their parents because of that. And then they won't want anything that their parents has to offer for them. And real quick, I'll say we've had experiences with white children and different, you know, cultures and races of people, right? Now, in my opinion, comparing the black people or our culture, our upbringing to white people, when you're in school, right, and say like you have a white student or something like that, or coworker, whatever, and their parent might have bought them a new car or house, anything like that. And we noticed that they brag on those type of things. Like, oh yeah, my dad he just bought me this car, he just bought me this new house, oh he just got me this, he just got me that. They're happy about it, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, but us though, we'll look at them and be like, oh yeah man, he lucky or he's spoiled, he don't know nothing about struggle, his dad bought that from him, his dad bought this from him. But he's proud of it. But us, we'll look at it when our parents try to help us. No, I got it on my own. I do it myself. Now I'm going to move out. I'm going to move. You know what I'm saying? It's this wanting to be independent and things like that. But wanting to be independent so bad ends up hurting us in the long run.
Exactly, because there's nothing wrong with being independent. But when you lean on that as a crutch to where you don't need anyone else, and like you feel like people won't respect you as much because you're asking for help. And if you even talk to people that like college age, you know, like if you ask them, oh, how are you paying for school or whatever, a lot of times, you know, their parents might help, but they like to always throw in the fact, yeah, but I'm working too, you know, like I'm also paying. Like even if you weren't, like it's okay that you have your parents paying for your school, because you know a lot of black kids that I met in college, like a lot of them were there on scholarship, you know, they had grants, things of that nature. So it's like they didn't necessarily like pay for it themselves, but like at the same time, like I don't know why anyone would look at them differently because they have people paying for them. Like it doesn't make you any less black or any less respected, in my opinion.
Right.
But
to add on to that, but I would say that people use, how should I say, I don't want to say spending money, but like they're forms of gratitude, I guess you would say. like giving you things as far as like almost like doing you a favor,
Mm-hmm.
and they expect for something in return. So I feel like that's where a lot of it stems from.
Yeah.
That we don't want to go to like our parents, our uncles, aunts, any of them, because if you ask them for something, there's going to be something in return that they're going to get from you.
Mm-hmm. And there's no that's very true what you said, but it's like there comes a point where it's like there's no problem with reciprocation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now you can be used by somebody all day long, and I don't think it should ever be a tit for tat sort of thing. But at the end of the day, okay, you invested into my life, so why can't I give something back? You know what I'm saying? That's what I ought to do. And I want to share 2 scriptures, which are everybody, from the Bible that goes along with what we're saying. First one is Proverbs 13:18. Poverty and shame shall be to him that refuseth instruction, but he that regardeth reproof shall be honored. So it's like, if you refuse an instruction, if you act like you're not coachable, willing to learn, okay, that's what's going to be the result of your consequences, poverty and shame. But we take, instead of us being shameful about it, we take that and it's like we honor poverty and we bragging on that, oh, I'm hood rich, I'm hood rich. See, just real quick, but those rappers, right, that I'm just using them as an example, they will brag on being hood rich and brag on getting out the mud, but they be the same people, as soon as they get some money, they move out the hood and go move into the suburbs. Them same white people or anybody else, black people who made it out and they living in the suburbs, they will want to go live with them people and then be looking back at the people living in the hood like, oh man, yeah, they living in the hood, blah, 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 I made it out. So why are you looking down on them now? That's where you was just at. And the other one is, a good man leaveth, this is Proverbs 13:22. A good man leaveth an inheritance to his children's children, and the wealth of the sinner is laid up for the just. So if you leave an inheritance to your children, right? Your children's children, you say that. When you're able to do stuff, like you see people that say, oh, I'm putting up this trust for my grandchildren, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. It's like, it's a wise thing to do that. So when we look at other people like, oh, his dad bought that for him, his grandfather got that for him, oh, he's spoiled. No, that's what a wise man ought to do. And just like men like us, that's what we ought to do. You know what I'm saying? It should be something that we look at and we proud of that. You know what I'm saying? Every community, not just black people, white people, Hispanics, everybody should be proud to be able to do something like that and not look down on each other. Like, you make it easier for the next generation. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It's like, if we say we had children, if we were to spoil them, then we're going to have to raise our grandchildren. You know what I'm saying? Because we spoiled our children. But if we would raise our children, we can spoil our grandchildren because the job is so much easier. You know what I'm saying? And then it's not as hard on our children to have to lay something up for theirs because we did that already. You know what I'm saying? Made the investment prior to.
Yeah.
And that's when it comes to breaking generational curses, laying up generational wealth. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. It's just, it's so many issues, but
And
that's...
and like adding on to that, like when you're giving your kids things like through generations, and your kids give to their kids, and their kids give to their kids, and so on and so forth, like those things should never be things that you used to hold against their heads and try and compare what you didn't have.
Right.
Because a lot of times parents will do that. They'll try and make it seem like you should be so grateful that they went above and beyond when they brought you into this world. I didn't ask to be here. Mm-hmm. So why are you going to hold it against my head that you got me nice clothes? Mm-hmm. Why are you going to hold it against my head that you have to cook for me and do all these different things? Like,
right.
Until I can learn, and that's why people rush to, build those skills up themselves because they've had their parents say, "Man, you need to learn how to cook." Like, I'm not trying to do this all the time. Like they berate them with all these different things that they don't want to do for them, and then they get mad when, oh, you moving out already? Like you trying to do all this stuff on your own? Why? Well, it's because of you, And it's just like that kind of mentality of trying to belittle your kids and condescend them because they want to do things, or because you want to do things, or you don't want to do things for them, is going to lead them to like just dip out quicker than you could have ever thought. That's why the minute people reach 18, they want to live by themselves. They want to do whatever they want. They want to move in with their boyfriend or girlfriend, whatever the case. Like they want to leave and stay away from you because you controlled them and put them and condescended them to make them feel like they can't be significant without you. You know what I mean? So that's why there's this push for people to be independent, and that's where that pride comes from, because they always have this level of thinking where it comes from. Oh well, shoot, I can't really do this because my parents are going to be.
Let me ask you this.
I'll be on my ass for what?
So like, we all have pretty good households, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Do you think this stems like with the black kids that live in the suburbs that think they're hood?
Yes.
That-
No, but yeah, really quick on that. I do think the reason why is because they see all the role models that they see that, you know, have a lot of money, have a lot of notoriety, whatever, clout, whatever the case. They never were little kids in the suburbs that, you know, go to school, have 2-parent households. It's always, oh yeah, man, I was from this rough environment. My dad was never around, blah, 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 blah. So they see those are the kind of people getting respect, getting money, getting women, men, whatever the case. And they want to emulate that. So when they start emulating that, they feel like they could reach that kind of level of whatever they're trying to reach. Now, there are a lot of athletes, you know, people joke about John Morant not being from the hood and stuff, but that's not how he portrays himself. He portrays himself like a nigga from the streets. And whether that's true or not, it's not my business. I don't care. But at the same time, like, kids see that. He's one of the most popular players in the league. So you acting like that is going to make them act like that, whether they're from that kind of lifestyle or not, because that's what they see. You know what I mean? So I feel like to that point, these kids from the suburbs, I want to act like they're from the streets or whatever, do that because they know that's the kind of persona that they need to carry to get respect. Now, not everyone's going to buy into that because, you know, we're mature and like young adults that see more than just that. But when you're like 14, 13, 15, you don't care about all the deep stuff we're talking about. At least most kids don't. Most teenagers don't. They care about what's popping, what's hot right now. And it just so happens to be that right now in the black community, it's people that perceive themselves a certain way that got it from the mud but are now successful. So that's where that stems from. And I do agree with that point. That's kind of where it happens.
And it's really crazy because it's not just the black kids.
Right.
And it's just like,
exactly.
Johnny, please go sit down.
It'd be the white kids talking about, yeah, bro, Deuce was my favorite, bro. Like, he's my like, and that's the thing. Like, black people are just so popular in so many different aspects of culture that everybody floods to it. You got white people, Hispanic people saying nigga more than we say nigga. You got all Asians. Like, it's such a trend to do black things and like black things. You got Johnny from the block saying nigga, listening to Lil Durk, and he can't relate to anything he's saying.
See,
whether he was from the hood or not, he's still white. So continue.
What's the biggest trend is to not think for yourself. That's what I think. And it's like what we should respect more than anything is authenticity. But people, they want to respect something that's fake. You know what I'm saying? Just like when people go on Instagram, they'll respect you for the pictures you post, flashing money, things like that. A lifestyle, glamorous and luxurious stuff that you might not even really have, but they respect it because of what it looked like. You know what I'm saying? And man, that's the problem. And back to what y'all was saying about the whole how children, you know, moving out and things like that. Looking it up like statistically, it's saying the number of people moving back in with at least one parent spiked in 2020 at the height of COVID-19 pandemic. So, and this is people from 18 to 29 years old, you know what I'm saying? And it still holds to that even in 2022, it did. And my thing is like, with that whole thing, there's nothing wrong with staying with your parents past the age of 18. Problem
Guess
is,
where we at? We are in my parents' basement.
Exactly. We got to stop telling people, though, that you're an adult at 18, blah, blah, blah. You don't know nothing. Now, okay, we all graduated in 2018, right? Just imagine. None of us knew COVID was going to happen in end of 2019 going into 2020. None of us expected it. But say we decided to move out of our parents' house at 18, right? Not expecting COVID to happen, not expecting the inflation of 2022, not knowing anything about that. We moved out, didn't establish nothing for ourselves, but then we go get our own place and we working like crazy to keep that place. COVID happened, inflation happened, we could have lost jobs, but then our money isn't the same in 2022. Now, oh man, I gotta go live back with my parents. But if we, you know, we didn't do that, but if we did, and we could have been real proud, I'm like, oh no, I'm not going to move back in with my parents. I'll never do that. I'll never. So you're gonna sit here and struggle. Go ahead, get it out the mud, because you know everything. You know what I'm saying?
It's a no. It's
you can't get no help.
Mentality. It's a big.
There's nothing wrong with living with your parent to continue to need help. That's what a parent is there for. It's not to say you're still being raised, because in my opinion, based on the way you think and your mentality, you go from being raised to once you develop a certain level of maturity, you're not being raised anymore. You're being guided. You know what I'm saying? And I would say at our age and what we're doing, we're being guided by our parents. We're not being raised by them. You know what I'm saying? We all take care of our own bills, our own things. But at the end of the day, it don't hurt to let your parents help you get a foot off the ground. You know what I'm saying? To get a leg up in life.
Mm-hmm. If you know they're willing to help you.
Yeah,
because I know a lot of parents.
Everybody's situation is different.
Yeah, everyone's situation is different. I'm not saying
all get along.
Yeah, if your mom hates you, your dad hates you, don't go back. if you have other people in your family, please go somewhere else. But what I am saying is this: like people, like he was saying, people dreaded having to move back to their parents because they already have this. And sometimes it's simple. It's simply down to communication. Like, your parents might not be as bad as you think. To be honest, when it comes to, oh, okay, it's okay, sweetie, yeah, you can come back. Like, you caught up in your own mentality that you need to be independent because you don't want to be seen as a failure. Like, man, everyone's doing this, doing that. And that's another problem with like social media and how people think. People are rushing their journey so fast because they see these 23, 22-year-old influencers and stuff getting their own apartments, getting their new whips, getting these new things. And you think, oh man, I should be like that. He's doing it, man. Why do I got? It's okay to live with your parents in 2020. I'm 20. I still live with my parents. Right. Not by choice, of course. Right, but like, they let me because they know they first of all they know my mentality. They know I'm not going to be here forever. Like, I'm not just chilling with I'm just living with my parents' house on the game, chilling. It's more of I'm staying here. They're allowing me to stay here. They have no problem with me staying here, and they know I'm building something on my own with y'all. You know. Like, we're not perfect, and we don't know it all. And I'm perfectly fine, listening to my parents, guiding me through certain things that I might not have known before. But a lot of people, like to your point, are know-it-alls, and they think they can just figure it out and just get through it on their own without any assistance. Especially with the parents who may or may not, depending on the situation, like we were saying, actually be helpful. And I feel like a lot of kids, hit their downfall, and they even ruin their pride by doing that. It's just like, you're so prideful that you can't even realize that your parents are there to help. Mm-hmm. Like, good parents. Mm-hmm. And a lot of y'all got good parents. Some of y'all be blowing it up like, man, my dad, he never lets me do this. Because a lot of times y'all be putting yourself in bad predicaments. I can't even lie. But like, at the same time,
pride comes before destruction. Simple as that. Like, some people's parents, like I said, I don't know everybody's situation, but it don't be as bad as they make it seem. Like, I know me and my dad at times we've gotten into it, but the thing is communication. As long as you're on the same page with things, you can still have your independence. You know what I'm saying?
Because y'all are grown. Like, if you're 20, 21, 22, 23, and you behave like how you're supposed to behave. Now, obviously, for any of the hoodlums out there that just be doing whatever, not really respecting your family or whatever, they're probably gonna look at you a little bit funny. But like, if you're doing what you got to do, then hey, like, I don't see no problem why you can't communicate with your parents. Like, oh yeah, you shouldn't have to have curfew. You're 22. You know what I mean? Like, if you respect their privacy, and they respect yours, and you communicate that. It's just like you said, they're guiding you. They're not raising you all up on your behind, talking about something. Where you going? What you doing? Like,
some people that's 22 still need to be raised.
Yeah,
because they're not mature enough. But I would say, like, being grown is just taking care of your responsibility. That's all it is. It has nothing to do with your age. There's some 30-year-old kids out there.
There's some 40-year-old kids out there. 50.
Yeah, who still don't got their life together. Mm-hmm. And that's not to say any of us are better than them, not like that. But that's just reality. This is what it is. But
I wish I had some of the guidance that some people get. Like, we don't. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of guidance counselors in high school, bro. Mm-hmm. We were just not set up the way it needed to be. College-wise, career-wise. That's what junior and senior year of high school should be based off of. Mm-hmm. It should be, what are you going to do with these next years after high school? Are you going to go to college?
You're going to find a trade.
Are you going to find a trade? Exactly.
Right.
Military. There's tons of directions you can go with that.
Exactly, and it's not just college. Like, see, I went to college. I graduated from Miami. He was in the military. He went to OSU and he dropped out to pursue a trade. He knows how to cut hair and he knows how to drive trucks. He got a CDL. So us three, like, by example, like, we are three examples of three different paths, but like, we still all have the same desires. We have the same goals of what we want our lives to look like. But the thing is, like, after high school, we didn't know. We still don't know for real. Like, we still don't know, like, wholeheartedly. Like, we know what we want to do in terms of, like, what we want to accomplish in our lives. But at the same time, like, the problem with, like, pride and stuff is people are always telling you to work hard and, like, do what you got to do. But, like, that could be literally anything. I could tell a little boy, man, if you work hard and just follow your dreams, you can be successful. And, you know, that might sound really nice in the moment. But as he gets home and thinks to himself, like, man, what do I want to do? Because it could be literally anything. And it's kind of hard to figure out what it is. Like, if you don't have some, you know, like, some outstanding talent that just exuberates from your body, like, oh, man, I'm super good at hooping. I'm going to be a hooper. Like, if it's not something that just sticks out to you, it's going to be hard. Because, like, a lot of people don't know what their talents are. And it's kind of hard to find when you don't have anybody, like, kind of acknowledging what you're really good at from, like, the minute you're born, or, like, even in high school, like, with the counselors. They don't really tell you nothing. Like, mine didn't. They said, oh, Myles, you know what? College might be a great path for you. And in back at the time, I didn't know nothing. I was like, oh, yeah, college, sure, why not? No, I hate school. But I do know a degree would put me in better positions, which I'll say that for another time. It hasn't, you know, it depends on the situation and what I'm talking about. But at the end of the day, it's like, there is no right answer. It's just everyone has an answer. It might not be the right one depending on what you want. But at the same time, there's so many different paths. And that pride and independence kind of puts more stress because you don't really know and you don't want to ask your parent, well, what should I do? Because you want to seem like you're clinging on to them. Mm-hmm. And that can be stressful.
So, to go off of that, I'm going to give my opinion on something, but then I want to ask y'all. The thing is, a lot of us don't know what we be wanting to do. That's the problem. And I think instead of, like, when children are young, we expose them to sports a whole lot. I don't know why that's like the main category though. For, oh, you gonna go play football? Oh, you gonna go play basketball? You gonna go play soccer? You gonna do this? You gonna do that? Now, kids should stay active, I do believe. But at the end of the day, we ought to be exposing them to real things outside of when you get older. It's just deemed as entertainment. You know what I'm saying? Because child, they grow up. By the time they're 16, I say between 16 and 18. That's kind of too late to be trying to rush and decide, what do I want to do if I'm going to go to college, blah, 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 blah. So you're going to hurry up, rush and make a decision and go into all this debt just as a trial run. You know what I'm saying?
If college was free in a perfect world, man, go to college.
Yeah.
Because, like, my thing is college is too expensive without scholarships or grants to just test what you want to do.
Which maybe
because you could change it. You know how many people change? Like, when I was a freshman, I changed my major 5 times because I just did not know. And my thing is, I'm like, I gotta just pick something. So I settled for sports management because it was easy, and, you know, like, I got my piece of paper that I wanted. But at the same time, like, a lot of people put themselves in. But I was lucky enough to have a scholarship, and I eventually paid off my student loans. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people.
Where were we?
I had a question for you.
Yeah.
So my thing is, do you guys think that college should be something that we push people to go to right out of high school, like at 18? Or y'all think there should be a period of break where people are able to experience life a bit, experience what it's like to work, and then decide, like, what do I really want to do in life? And then we push them to go for it.
I think starting off, I don't think people should go out of college unless they absolutely know what they want to do. And even then, you still have that room to change your mind. So I believe in the leap year of, you know, taking a break from school, pursuing, like, just any job that's available, and then it'll open your eyes to see, I don't want to do this forever. Right. Because, I mean, we've all worked together at Lowe's. We know we did not want to be at Lowe's. For sure. We did not want to be at Lowe's for long. We wanted to do bigger and better things with our lives. And, I mean,
no kidding.
You know, some people do need to work those jobs. It's okay. Yeah. They can work those jobs. But I believe in the leap year to, you know, kind of like recuperate, bring yourself back in, and then you can go off and go to college, do whatever you need to do.
Yeah, I agree. Because I know with, like, gap years after college are very normal. Mm-hmm. Because, like, I know, like, Morgan, like my sister, she's taking I think she's taking 2 gap years before she starts applying to, like, medical school or whatever, because it's been so stressful with her degree, like her major. She just needs that time to just recuperate and get back to where she needs to get to. So actually focus, and that's what
Right.
people need. And I feel like even in high school you need that because, you know, from kindergarten to 12th grade, you're in school just getting stuff pounded into you that you don't even care about, more or less.
Mhm.
So I think a year after to kind of determine or decide, in addition to like what I think more schools should do, like your senior year, start explore, like junior, I'll say even junior year, senior year, start exploring what you're good at. I think it's harder to find your passion when you don't really know what you can thrive in, because a lot of people just don't know what they're good at. When they find that, it's a little bit easier. It might not be what you want to pursue, but at least you know it's something that you can fall back on if what you initially want to do won't work for whatever reason. But I feel like a gap year is definitely one of those things people need after high school. And college isn't something that you should just force, unless you want the experience with it. Because college is a fun experience.
Yeah.
And my thing is, if you're going to pay for that experience, you at least need to like look at all the different options for what you want to pursue first. Because it's not cheap. Because like I said earlier, in a perfect world, if college was free, I advise everyone to go.
Right.
It's a great relationship building. It's great networking. You know, it gives you that independence a lot of people are looking for. You know, you're on your own for the first time. You might move out of state. You might, you know, get to see different things, meet different people. It's not just people in your area, you know. So if college was free, I advise everyone to go after school. But since it's not and it's really, really expensive, I would just take a little bit of time to actually consider other options first if you're not entirely sure. Because if you don't know, sure, you can find it in college, but it's also equally possible you don't. So then you're going to have to be paying for that. So just consider it first.
Also, let me throw this in there, because I was just talking about it before we went to break. Community college saved me, because college was not for me, but it was pounded into my head by my family.
Mm-hmm.
And that 2 years I went to community college and I just BS'd around, it saved me a lot of money. So community college, if you don't know what you want to do, it'll save you that time, it'll save you that money to realize what you want to do. And you can also do other things outside of while you're going to school.
Right.
And there's a stigma that community college is like this B-list version of regular college. It is the same information. It is the same information depending on what it is you're trying to pursue.
Mm-hmm.
I promise it is.
And I'm glad you said the thing about people pushing you to go. That's another topic I wanted to touch. I feel like, so we shouldn't be, sometimes I feel like we allow our peers or even our adults to pressure us into going to college, as far as like, oh, there's this thing where it's like people believe if you don't go to college or get a degree, they don't respect you as much in the adult world. You know what I'm saying? If you have a trade or something like that, he's doing all right. You know what I'm saying? But if you get your degree, oh yeah, they graduated from so and so. Oh yeah, they got their degree. It's like people look at you different. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing where I feel like that needs to be broken. You know what I'm saying? Because you can be just as successful, which success is different to everybody, first of all. But in my opinion, for me, success is doing what I want to do that will fulfill me. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's like, to me, I feel like people should. It's
like that piece of paper is like putting you at a higher status.
Yeah, it's classing.
Yes.
Almost like that's what it develops that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I feel like I can go real deep on that whole class. Because I feel like it's almost like, for those people out there, it's almost like if you go to college and get quote unquote indoctrinated, oh yeah, you're doing great in life because you took the world's system. I'm gonna just leave it at indoctrination. We'll touch that another time. But it's like you get rewarded for being indoctrinated.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And if you think for yourself, it's, something different. But the whole thing about people pushing you, it's like they let other people look at them and like, oh, your kid didn't go to college or blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. It's an image thing.
It's
like, what does it look like to me if my child doesn't go to college? They ain't making that of themselves. And it's like, if your child doesn't want to go to college, and especially if you're paying for it, you ought to be happy. They chose not to go to college,
right?
But you care so much about the image and what it looks like that you're going to push your child to do something they don't even want to do. I believe that there's more profit in your purpose. You know what I'm saying? And that's in many different ways, not just monetary, but like You profit in relationships you gain, experiences, things like that. And that's going to fulfill you more than just a piece of paper that's going to validate you with. You know what I'm saying?
Now, it is like if you're in college or you are planning on going to college and you get your degree, that is amazing because it is a true commitment and education is important. We're not saying oh man, college is trash, don't go.
No.
What we're saying, like the point I think they're trying to make is just go to college for the right reasons. Because a lot of people, like you said, like they have family, they have friends, even people they don't even know. They have this fear that they're going to look at them differently because they don't have that piece of paper, right at any given point. Especially when you're young, because you're expected to go through these steps. Yeah. Go to high school, go to college, get your degree, get a good job, so on, so on, so on, so on. A lot of people don't want to follow that exact path. Even when people that I met in college, like they were the first people in their family to go to college. Now that's another thing. Like that independence is more of like a reliance too, because it's just like, well, I can't, I gotta do it. I gotta get this degree because I'll be the first one in my family to break this generational curse, not going to college. And like that's respectable. Like I respect anyone that goes to college for that reason. However, it's just scary because you're putting yourself in this predicament that you might not want to be in for 4 years. And depending on what you want to, depending on whatever major you're in, maybe longer. It's just a scary thought because mentally that might not always be the best thing for people. Is to go into college, not actually liking college, loving college, or the degree you're getting into. All for the sake of trying to make your family look better, make you look better when you don't really care about it. Or, just feeling like you'll be more accepted if you pursue whatever that degree is. So it's more of just like, go to college for the right reasons. Like if you really want to be a doctor, go to college and, try your best. That's all I'm gonna say on that.
Go ahead. I know we talked about this the other day and you just made me thinking about it again. So when you say go for the right reasons, when people get into stuff, right, and they say, I'm passionate about this. Okay, in today's world, though, I feel like most people aren't passionate about the things they're doing, even in college. It's about the money. And I feel like money is still, I don't know, in today's world, 2023, with inflation being the way it is, this is a controversial topic, and it's hard to say because money is important. It's an essential part of life. However, we do need money. Do the things that, your mental health is definitely more important than money, but do the things that you're passionate about and that fulfill you. It's like chasing the money. That's not going to be the thing. I mean, money motivates people, but does it fulfill people? No. That's the thing. It don't fulfill you, though. Because money can be gone just like it can be given. You know what I'm saying? It's like, man, that whole do it for money. I feel like industries would be better off as well. People would care more in the industry that they're in. Things wouldn't happen the way they happen if people were passionate about the careers that they were in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's my take on it.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are chasing lifestyles as well.
Like
they see the way certain people are living, but they don't always grasp like what that person probably had to do to get it. Now we can get into some deeper stuff, but I'm gonna just keep it like this. A lot of people literally sacrifice everything that most people would actually value in order to get money.
Everything.
Like some people sacrifice their relationships with their family. They sacrifice their time with their kids. They sacrifice they like metaphorically, or maybe we don't even know, their soul, and like they do that for money. And then when you get all this money, you have fake friends, you have people that don't even care about you. They're just there because you have money to provide them a lifestyle that you are willing to offer. Or if you I don't think I would offer it because I'm gonna get mine genuinely. But a lot of times people just get it for a lifestyle. They don't want it to genuinely enhance their lives. They get it because they just want to just flash this, flash that, look good on this, look good on that. It's not always a genuine reason. Now, like we were talking about, money is important, but it shouldn't be everything. And if you want money, you have to get it in a way where you don't sacrifice everything that matters. Because like I said, like this is why traveling is important. You see people in like the Dominican Republic, you see people in like Haiti and whatever, and they're having the time of their lives. They don't have a lot. But they realize and they grasp the genuine connection they have with each other, like their family, their culture, and they use that as their monetary value. Like that's how they live and thrive.
To make that was good what you said. To make a point about what you said, Just want to get this out there. Money and time are not the same. Time is not money. Money is not time. They're not equal. When you look at numbers, you're not going to say, and we can have this argument about men and women, but I'm not going to do that. So when you look at numbers, you would say 1 is equal to 1, right?
Yeah.
But you're not going to say 2 is equal to 1, are you?
No.
Because they're different. However, I really could have said this, but so it's like just because it's a number or human does not make them equal. We have equal rights, right? Just like 2 and 1 have equal rights because they're numbers. That means they can both add, they can both multiply the things. However, they're not going to bring about the same outcome. You know what I'm saying? So it's like if I add 1 to 1, it's going to make 2. If I add 2 to 1, it's going to make 3. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying with that. Money and time is not the same. So we shouldn't take our lives and our careers and exchange our time for money because they're not in the same value. If you go into an industry, make sure you, as much as you can, negotiate your pay, get what you feel like you're worth and what's valuable to you. You know what I'm saying? And you should always value your time more than you should your money. Because you can't get that back. Money you can.
And for the people that are independent, like you might see all these things about entrepreneurs and things of that nature. Because I'm not gonna lie, entrepreneurship is a very honorable career path because you're working for yourself and you don't always have to be at work to actually get paid and things of that nature, and that's fine. However, I just want people to know entrepreneurship is not for everybody. And when people say that, when an entrepreneur will tell you that, a lot of people are like, man, I can handle it. But a lot of entrepreneurs, especially starting out, and the ones that actually are serious, cut out a lot of things. Now, I'm not going to say sacrificing things isn't fulfilling when you're actually doing it for the right reasons, but if you're sacrificing your time with people, like your relationships with people, all for the sake of, being independent, getting on your own, being an entrepreneur, grinding out from friggin' 5 a.m. to like 8 p.m. and all that. I just want you to realize like that can be very deadly mentally because you're going to get to the top eventually if you are working like that. Eventually you will, but you're not going to have any of the same people in your circle because they all remember when you left them in the dirt to build that. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, it's kind of like you just got to take it. And some people will ride with you with that, and that's cool. Like there's people that will ride with you like throughout the building process, and that's the kind of people you want around you. But the problem is a lot of times people sacrifice everything for a career they don't really care about. It's just the easiest way to get financially free. And it's just like there's risk, there's pros and cons to that. That's all I'll say. If you want to do that, go ahead. But just remember, like a lot of parents and friends and family, they ignore everyone to do that. And that's not something I would do. Mainly just because like I value people in my life too much to just cut them out all for the sake of, oh man, sorry, I can't, I gotta work. Oh man, I would go to your wedding, I gotta work though. Oh man, I would go to this, but I gotta work. Like, no, appreciate what is in your life now and appreciate the morals that you have so you don't forget them when you're too busy, grinding and building, because that's not cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying.
Make time. That's a big thing. Make time for others. Mm-hmm. Make time for your family. Make time for your loved ones. Because when you make it to the top, people are going to meet you there. People that you don't want there with you.
Right. You will get people that hit you. Yeah, remember you borrowed a pencil from me in 5th grade, bro. Yeah, you shining, bro. All right. So what we doing today? Like, bro, who are you? You know what I mean? Like, it's always like that. You see people, because I've had people that have gotten a decent bit of money, and they've told me, yeah, bro, tell me why this girl that I used to talk to in like 8th grade, bro, it's crazy. I see her in a minute. She hit me up. I was like, why do you think that is?
Right. And
it's just funny.
Like, something to think about just about life and this whole career thing. When you working and stuff like that, like, when you riding in your car, right, and you in rush hour traffic, like, just take a time to breathe in. Just look around. And because I did that, and I'd be thinking to myself, like, man, we all sitting here in rush hour. Went to work today. We all rushing home. All these cars on the highway. And I'm like, when I was a kid, I never thought this is what life was like. And then you sit back and think, like, is this really life, though? Like, we literally, everybody, we wake up and do this every day. Mm-hmm. We sit, we rushing to go to work. Take this kid to school or to the program place. But anyway, And then it's like we all rushing to get home. You know what I'm saying? Oh, get the kids out of school. Oh, make dinner. Back to the same thing in the morning. Work, 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 work. I'm not saying people shouldn't work. Obviously, that's what we got to do. Keep the world going. But what is our reasons for why we're working? It's just money. That's what it's like. That's what the world is pushing on us. Consumerism. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I'm working for a better lifestyle. You're not working for a better life, but a better lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? And that can mean being materialistic because you might want to get in Benz. I'm not saying it's wrong to have goals and want to have nice things. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But what's at the foundation of why you want it? You know what I'm saying? Like status symbol, validation. First of all, you shouldn't be seeking to get validated by other adults. I mean, if you, like, come on, now, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
A car should not give you that much validation to where you think, oh, I'm that person. I got a Benz, I got a Lambo, I got this, I got that.
Yeah, and people should know that
You make the
things
car.
things don't make the man.
Exactly.
Either. Like I know a lot of lames that have really nice designer stuff, and I'm just like, you're probably the lamest, no substance having person I've ever met in my life. And then you'll meet people that have like Fubu or Coochie on
Wow.
or whatever. No, for real, I like Coochie. I'm not gonna lie, I like Coochie, but like,
Coochie.
you know, I said Coochie, bro. All right, get off me, bro. You know that.
Some people got coochie on too.
All right.
All right.
Anyway, yeah, Coochie, Coogi. Yeah, y'all messing my words. Yeah, you see them people like that with that on.
What's on your mind?
And-
So now,
Right?
all right, I'm done.
All right, bro. Some of y'all. Anyway, yeah, you see people with that on. They're probably the coolest people you ever met because they got real experiences and things to talk about. You know what I mean? And then you got
Right.
people that have all this designer stuff, and they're so boring to talk to because they only talk about either themselves or what they can do.
Mhm.
There's no real substance to the combo. You know?
You see that in their life, you know what I'm saying? Like, and the people that surround them too.
And I'm not gonna lie, personally, the best experience that I have with people are with people that are in the, or conversations I've had with people I did not know are people that dropped out of school or people that are in the military. To be fair, like I've had great conversations with everybody, but you know, those two classes of people, they're just so much more genuine with like how they view life. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I don't know why, I can't really explain why, but it's just the way it is for me personally. I'm not saying, oh, if you went to the degree, you suck. I'm just saying, like, that's just what I've noticed, especially older people.
So, okay, we've all had experiences in college. We've all had different outcomes, you know what I'm saying? All graduated at the same time. Now, what do y'all feel like, what life lessons do y'all feel like y'all have learned through each of y'all experiences? You being the one out of all of us who continued to pursue college, got your degree. Me and Tim being ones who dropped out. He went to the military. I got 2 trades. What did that teach y'all? You know what I'm saying? Like, what was major life lessons or things y'all learned throughout that whole experience?
I see it as the 3 of us sitting right here, we're all equal. Like,
Right.
I don't see Myles being better than me. I don't see you being better than me. I don't see myself being better than either of y'all.
Right.
I feel like we're equal playing fields right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It don't. I'm glad you said that because it's like none of us feel inferior to each other or superior to each other.
Right.
The thing is like what you said about us all being equal on the same playing field. At the end of the day, somebody can go to college, somebody can get trades, somebody can go to the military. We can all do these things, right? Say I got 2 trades, right? Which is just giving me the license to practice whatever I got trading. You got your degree. That just gives you the ability to be able to do the license, let's say, to do certain things. You went to the military. Now, you can do a lot with that. You know what I'm saying? Same with that. That's not going to matter to having those things. The ability isn't going to mean anything if we don't execute after we get those licenses to practice what we just did. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, same like when you get your driver's license. You got the license to practice how to drive. You're not no expert driver right now. You know what I'm saying? As soon as you get your license. And that's what all of our different paths did for us. But we had to execute something after that. You know what I'm saying? It's what you do to use what you learn to get yourself up off the ground. There's still work to be done. You know what I'm saying? So, do y'all feel like, is there anything y'all will go back and change? Now I know we all not as a like I live in regret type of thing, you know what I'm saying?
I mean,
but
see, one thing I would have done in college is not Because, you know, I used to have that mindset of, man, I want this now, I want that. I'm going to just work and work and work and get it eventually doing my business or whatever. And back to your original question of life lessons, one thing I would say is move at your own pace and don't let anyone dictate your path. And that goes back to the original question with pride and parents. Like, don't let your ego restrict you from asking people for help. But at the same time, don't rely on them as a crutch to, like, you know, move you to where you want to be. Like, a lot of people will dangle something in their face to try and manipulate people to do others. Like, man, I brought you in this earth. You better go to school and do something with your life. You know what I mean?
Right,
like, that's usually what that's what I've heard.
Yeah.
But like, I'd say just follow your passions. Like when you find it, and I advise everyone to seek it out because a lot of people don't want to seek it because it is a lot of work and it can be uncomfortable, like putting yourself in different positions. But at the same time, you're gonna be worthwhile. Like you're gonna be worthwhile when you actually follow something you want to. But like, don't compare yourself to others. Like I know that's like the most basic form of advice that I've heard.
That goes pretty far.
It goes far though. It goes far. Don't compare yourself to other people's like paths because a lot of people will always be like, oh man, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. A lot of people are arrogant, you know, but that shouldn't matter.
Comparison is like the
Comparison is a thief of all joy.
Yep.
Yeah, it is for sure. Because when you see people doing stuff the same age and they're doing way more, quote unquote, way more than you are, that doesn't make you any less significant than them. It's just not your time.
It's probably where a lot of depression stuff.
Exactly. That for sure. And that's another problem with social media that I don't get into. But you know, on the surface level, all it is, it's like you're seeing all these people and you think you're significantly inferior to them because they are doing this or they look like this or they act like this. Their parents gave them this, and it's not true. Just move at your own pace and go your own path and don't let anyone dictate where you're going. You can let them influence your decision if it's healthy, but don't let them dictate everything you do. Right. You know what I mean?
Y'all made a point about, you said influencers earlier, I believe you said it earlier. Now, when we talk about influencers, one of the things I'll be thinking is, that's a big word, you know what I'm saying? When people, we just be throwing it out there today because of social media. Oh, they're an influencer, they're an influencer. And it's like something to be, first of all, everybody's an influencer. You don't have to be known and have fame to be an influencer. We influence people's lives every day. Everybody does. But the thing is, when we look at these people, and I know sometimes children, you know what I'm saying, even people our age look up to these quote-unquote influencers. What are they influencing them? Just because they're an influencer don't mean you ought to look after them. What are they pouring into your life? You know what I'm saying? What are they taking from your life? Like, they can be influencing you to do negative things. You know what I'm saying? They can be influencing you to lie to people, to cheat. You know what I'm saying?
Dangerous things.
Yeah, do dangerous things.
Like, remember, what was it, the bleach? Not the bleach, the Tide Pods.
Yeah.
There were like little kids dying all the time when that first came out. I was like, bro, what is going on?
Right. Like, if you're going to be somebody of influence like life, influence health, influence positivity, something that's going to make somebody better, you know what I'm saying? Don't just be influenced on, oh, shoot, I'm doing this just so I can get someone.
Yeah, because a lot of times when there's like, facts. And a lot of times when you see like influencers, like Instagram influencers or like TikTok, they're usually just people that look good that are dancing, to be honest. That's what an influencer really is. Like,
that's what they're influencing you to do. Give them your time.
Right.
Exactly. That's it. You watch these videos of these people talking about stuff that you could do. Yeah. Like, never will I understand, like, how people just sit and watch. Now, if you want to gain skills from somebody, that's different.
Right.
That's very different. Like, if it's an influencer over something you care for. Like, for example, if you suck at video games and you watch somebody play basketball, like 2K or something, like, I wouldn't necessarily call the person an influencer, but you are getting stuff from that person. You feel what I'm saying? That's different. Right. But like, you're just watching somebody just because they look good and you call them an influencer. They're not really influencing you to do anything. You're just sitting there watching.
Exactly.
Like a clown, because they ain't doing nothing.
Yeah. And I feel like people need to watch who their influencers are.
Yeah.
Because, like they said, they're not always the best for you.
For sure.
And that goes to, with younger children, watch who you're letting your kids watch.
Facts.
Man, for
Watch it, because I've seen a lot of things, especially on TikTok now. What is it? Just a whole bunch of butt cheeks. A whole bunch of butt cheeks. And I have a niece. I don't want her on TikTok. But, you know, that's not up to me. But if it was, she would not be on TikTok, because I don't want her gaining those tendencies of thinking, oh,
this is the way to get people to see me.
yeah. And this may be a touchy subject, because, you know, it's like, oh, she can do whatever she wanted, because it's 2023. But I believe she should hold herself at a higher standard than what other people hold themselves at. And she shouldn't have to seek that validation from others by putting herself out there like that.
Like that, keyword.
Yes, like that.
She's very talented. So she doesn't have to subject herself to certain things that other girls might feel like they need to. Not saying as a grown woman you can't do what you want to do, but like you're saying, like she's what, 12?
She's about to be 12.
About to be 12.
Next week.
No one's trying to be. No one's trying to do that.
Most people would probably disagree because, regardless if they disagree or not, I mean, we know why people are doing what they're doing. It's either one of two things: validation or attention. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, yeah, this is about to be really touchy, but like a lot of the social media platforms today, it's portals and doors for modern day pornography. If we being honest.
Heck yeah.
You go on Instagram and you see what they considered or call Instagram models. Same with TikTok, stuff like this. Girls just twerking and showing their butt, showing dang near naked, like. And you got kids on this stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, you only got to be 12 years old to get on this app. Like, what?
Why?
But parents aren't monitoring what their children are doing.
And see, this goes again back to the parents thing. That certain level of pride and independence, right? If you aren't paying attention to your kids, they will find attention other places.
Yeah.
Trust me, they will.
Sure.
There's all these apps. There's all that they can easily get to, access to. Like y'all might think y'all so smart putting these child locks on your 10-year-old's iPads and stuff. They like, oh yeah, what will I ever do? They know the phone better than you. They gonna get off that. Go get on TikTok, start doing something they're not supposed to be doing.
Half of them ain't even doing that. And I like what you said about the whole, when you made that point, pride and parents thing again, right? One of the issues with that is people our age who have kids, I would say between the ages of like what we are, between 20, I'm gonna lower it to 20 and say like 32 maybe, right? Or 30 years old. Problem is, they're like, oh, yeah, my parents, they were too strict with me, so I'm gonna let my kids do this, I'm gonna let my kids do that. And then your kids is falling into that trap. Because you was raised a certain way, your parents had some standards that, oh, all right, so the thing is like, people are letting the apps raise their children, TV raise their children, YouTube raise their children, because it's like, oh, well, I'm gonna give my kids more freedom because my parents were so strict on me. Your parents might not have been strict, they just had standards and they knew what you could have gotten into if they weren't covering you. You know what I'm saying? And now, because we giving kids so much space and we're using school as daycare, you know what I'm saying, things like that, because we don't want to be involved in our children's lives as much anymore, even though we're in the same household. Being in a household with them is not being involved with them, you know what I'm saying? And so we letting all these other things have influence instead of us as parents, which should be our children's first form of influence, you know what I'm saying? And guidance in life, not all these other things. You actually got more people raising your child than what you think.
Exactly.
Because they're exposed to so many things. Y'all can give y'all 2 cents on that. Or
I mean, I agree with that because sometimes parents don't know the power of the influence that kids have at school. Because a lot of times, like when you're in middle school and things like that, what your parents think about you isn't as important as what your friends think about you.
Right.
So if they're in with the wrong group and you don't realize it early enough, they can fall into a trap of being with the wrong crowd, and that wrong crowd's going to influence them, not you.
Right.
You could have been thinking, oh, my kid's doing great. He's so nice and quiet at home. But then on the weekends, when you let him, roam out with his friends on the weekends, they out doing something they're not supposed to do, smoking or whatever at like 11. And then they start acting certain ways at home because they stopped caring. And now you don't know where you went wrong because you weren't paying attention to all the aspects of their lives in which they were being influenced by.
Right. So
then that can lead to them like being led astray and you not even knowing because you think you're not as involved, like you said, as you think you are in your kid's life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was good. That was good. I like that.
Yeah. It's rough because you know how they say every girl has like an emo phase or like every dude has like a rebellious stage.
Yeah.
The reason that is because when kids go to school, they start noticing how certain kids get attention. And if you don't get the attention that you think, if you're not getting that kind of attention at home as a child, you're going to start acting out in school. It's just a fact. And when you start acting out in school, people are going to start thinking, oh, he's so funny, bro. He just threw an eraser at the teacher while he was teaching, knocked him out, bro. Like, you know, stuff like that. It'd be the stupidest things to set it off. But then that's the attention. They all looking at you.
And the kids, they know it's not right. But the thing that they're looking at is like, they see me.
Mm-hmm. Right.
At least somebody sees me.
Exactly. And that's all because, like, you get home, you two, and that goes back to, like the work things and what you're willing to make time for. Like, hey, mom, you trying to help me with my homework? You trying to watch TV with me? Something? Right. Oh no, sorry, so I got work to do. Right. Yeah, you can just watch it. So we turn on something. You're not even paying attention. You probably watch the freaking the game or something wild, or like Power or something.
Right.
BMF. Something
now
crazy.
Be Tariq St. Patrick.
Exactly. So. And like a lot of people like underestimate the power of influence that TV has on kids. Like, you watch something or listen to something enough as a child, you're gonna be that's cool as heck, man. I want to be just like Ghost. I want to hit licks and I want to rob banks and I want to deal drugs and all that.
I want to do course correct.
Right. Yeah. So it's like a whole thing when it comes to influence from all these different avenues that a lot of people aren't paying attention.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, yeah. After 9 o'clock, I was not allowed to watch Cartoon Network because of Adult Swim.
Yep, that is facts. Yeah, for sure.
King of the Hill. That was
King of the Hill. Mm-hmm. If you were lucky at 13, you could probably sneak it 15 minutes. Yeah. Turn it off. Exactly.
We was in bed by a certain time. Mm-hmm. We had to go outside. There wasn't no.
Can't listen to certain music.
Yeah, all that. It was stuff we just had to do.
Gospel music. That's all we did.
Yeah, gospel music, R&B. You know, old school Mary J. Blige and all that. Mm-hmm. That's all I heard in the car with my mom. There was nothing else. Shit. You go to school, everybody rapping every Lil Wayne bar you could think of. I'm like, man, that's tough, man. What's that? What's that?
You don't know Lil Wayne 6 foot, 7 foot? No.
Right, nah, bro. I didn't learn the whole song until I was in like 9th grade, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Everybody was on it. I wasn't because I couldn't. My dad would have snatched me up and beat me up. But like, that's just the kind of protection. Now, obviously, when you're younger, you're like, man, this sucks, bro. Everybody listen to this, that. I want to listen.
Right.
But you don't really, you appreciate it when you're older, when you realize the content that, as a kid, you were consuming, or not, for lack of better words, in our situation, not consuming.
You got to have a spiritual understanding now. Mm. When I say spiritual, or certain spiritual I'm talking about, I don't want people to... I'm not going to get into all that, but you got to have a certain level of discernment. Put it that way.
Yeah.
Because music is powerful. It's a very powerful tool that, I'll just say, certain people use to try and manipulate certain levels of thinking. There's a reason why if you driving, right, you're just driving on, like, it's like 11 o'clock at night. I'm not the type of person to listen to like heavy rap or trap none like late at night because like it makes me a little bit more aggressive. I ain't gonna lie, but like I do listen to smooth R&B. But you got some people speeding like down the road, blasting Young Boy, Dirk, or whatever trap artist they listen to, and there's a reason for that. You ain't gonna drive that fast. Listen to freaking Drake or like Logic or something. You know what I mean? Like there's a reason why there's certain that music is powerful. It's Logic a tool. You said, huh?
Logic be hitting up.
Logic be. I like Logic. Everyone thinks it's corny, but I mean, yeah, all right. But yeah, for sure. Like it's more of like that pride to, like you think you are going to do so much better than your parents when it comes to raising children, that you're going to expose them to stuff that your parents are trying to protect you from.
Yeah.
So now by you thinking, oh man, I'm going to do way better than my dad, or I'm going to do way better than my mom. Son, you can watch that Family Guy. I don't care. Shoot. It's not that bad. I seen it, like and then they start cussing like Stewie and all that when they're like 8 years old, saying F words, B words,
our parents
all that.
Yeah, because our parents was tripping. Then don't know where they got that. Where he get that from?
And you know who always asks that? The grandparents.
Yeah.
The grandparents. Cause grandparents will ask that because they raised you, so they know. Mm-hmm. Boy, I ain't tell you who taught you that. Like right. They'll be like, oh, I don't know. I ain't say it. Like, right. Sure, you didn't.
Yeah. Right. Actually, they blame me for that. She said, she said, damn in front of my mom. Like, because I was fake hitting her. I was actually hitting her, but not hard. and I hit her. She was like, damn. And I looked at my mom. I was like, you're not going to do anything? Like, if it was me at her age, bruh, I would have been on the floor getting beat.
Right.
On the floor.
Right.
But nah, she was just like, well, you shouldn't have been hitting her. What?
The level. The standards would be so different for grandchildren.
That's facts. That is facts.
They love them different. for the Joker.
Yeah.
But
That's crazy.
just so y'all know, this is our first episode, so our first podcast. We new with this, so
We getting better though. Don't worry.
yeah.
Like,
Y'all can give
we
us
might
some
be stumbling and
feedback.
saying something that might not even make sense. But we gonna get better though. I promise.
Y'all tune in. We just gonna be our authentic selves. We're not gonna,
There's no script. Everything on this paper. This was really just ideas for what we wanted to start for.
What we wanted to talk about, things like that.
Yeah.
They're gonna be taking screenshots, zooming in to see if we.
They're like, oh, is that actually gonna have scripts? Like, they ain't gonna be that pressed on the first time.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But this is our first episode titled Pride in Parents. So y'all stay tuned. We're going to be coming back with more. Again, I'm Terrence or Terry.
I'm Myles.
And I'm Tim.
And that's it for our first episode of T.M.T. We out.